Okay.
Nice to meet you. I thought the talk was wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you. My pleasure.
You mentioned that Bitly was hiring, and I was wondering how large of a scale of hiring are you? Simply working on front end, back end, or associates, or do you have all levels of employment?
No, I do. We're hiring business side. We're hiring front end, back end, DevOps. We're hiring for our team in Denver. I need to get out of this gentleman's way.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Yeah. So.
Do they offer relocation?
Pardon me? It is. Yes. I'll borrow it. Okay. Sure. Yeah, I'll be here. I'll sit through.
Offer relocation if the Denver office was an option?
I don't think they're offering relocation now. No. It's just.
Primarily too new.
Yeah. We've got about 5 people out there at the moment.
I interviewed for a Denver company that moved to New York, and then all of a sudden, a month after moving, decided they were moving back to Denver, and took the job away from me.
Oh, that's rough.
And I
I'm so sorry.
Love the company, and now, with the way things are going with technology there, so I'm just curious as to what's going on.
Yeah. Go this direction. Come. Sorry. There we go. Here, let me give you a card, and if you find yours, is that 1 card or 2? I can't even see anymore. Cool. Yeah, shoot me an email. And I don't know what, but
But it would be great
possibilities.
to talk to you.
Exactly.
Thank
Yes.
you so much.
My
Sonia
pleasure.
was positive.
Sonia, good meeting you. Thank you. Hey. Yeah. I knew there was one thing that was funny. Okay. Here, have mine.
I gotta hit the power button. Plug in, hit button. Okay, we're off to a good start. It's not bitching about anything.
Uh-oh.
Oh, it changed. I'm okay with it.
You need a floppy disk.
I found memory for the other machine. Yes, yes. Let's see if it works with only half as much memory as it. Not doing anything complicated. It's the most overkill use of CPU power. It reads bytes from FireWire and writes bytes to the network. That's all it's doing.
Okay.
And it can do
That's a
it
big
with less
PC for that.
Yeah. Really, it comes down to what can I put the FireWire card into?
I see.
If Arduino had a FireWire.
All right. Welcome to. Oh, nope, not yet. Hello. Am I good? Should I, is this? All right. Let me move this thing closer. All right. Okay. All right. Welcome to writing Windows, writing Winforms and WPF applications in Python. It is a very different world to be writing UI applications in Python than web, and the audience, and I could see by just the number of people that we're not talking web, we're talking Windows, but it is still a very important piece of development that I think we do. So let me tell you a little bit myself. I've been developing for over 20 years. I'm currently with JP Morgan, which is probably the largest employer of Python developers around. I've been working in Python for about 10 years. And prior to that, I've worked at Goldman and at HedgeSurf. So for the last 20 years or so, I've been in the financial service industry. And what I find within the financial service industry, what you tend to do is you tend to build applications that deal with a lot of data. But not only deal with a lot of data, they tend to allow users to do a lot of manipulations with data, look at slice and dice data a lot of ways, and we've been doing that for the last 15, 20 years. Here's my personal info. If you're, you can look me up on Twitter, or I also have a link to my blog post. In terms of, so what does it take to build an effective GUI application? So right now, with web, most of the applications that you will write will probably be on the web. So thinking about building a Windows GUI application, you have to have a pretty good reason to do it, right? And the probably number one reason for it is having a highly functional data grid. Something that allows you to look at a lot of data, lets you sort the data, lets you filter the data, lets you group the data. That's where a desktop application is really thrives. Having having great data entry controls. HTML5 has come a long way, but still it doesn't come close in terms of flexibility of the combo box, the list edit, the lookup edit controls that you get with native Windows. The format masks and the date pickers and other date controls that you get with a lot of native Windows libraries far outshine what you get with the web. Graphics and charting is also an integral part of a lot of the applications. And also, once you start building Windows applications, it's important that your application looks modern, has a reasonably modern look and feel. I can tell you a story once. About 7, 8 years ago, I ended up, we worked at a startup, and we built a trade processing and a trade entry and front and middle office system that we were trying to target to hedge funds, and put in a lot of work, and we had a pretty solid front end-to-end system. It had, it had connectivity to exchanges. We were able to get data from various prime brokers, and we went in and we tried to do a demo to our first client, and we built it using WXPython. The first comment that we saw was, "Geez, this looks like it came from 1990s." Right? The look and feel was just not there. This was, as Office 2007 just came out, and I can tell you that following that remark, that demo didn't go very well, and we had to scramble very quickly to switch over. So if you choose to build, if you like Python and you have a lot of dependency in Python and you enjoy the Python, the batteries and the libraries that are included in Python, what are your choices for building in Windows applications? You have WXPython, which is pretty decent. Right? It has a lot of widgets. It gives you a lot of capabilities. There's a ton of examples out there, but it uses Win32 widgets. Right? There's no support for WinForms. There's really, I've seen people kind of add support for WinForms, but it's not, it is, you have to do a lot of low-level extensions to the library to do it. There's really no out-of-box extensions to WinForms or WPF. Also the layouts and the graphics that come with WXPython is somewhat limited. PyQt is a little bit more interesting. It has a decent number of, it has a lot of good-looking widgets, but they're not native widgets. It's a cross-platform UI set, and the number of widgets really is limited. So you're not going to be able to find the types of grids and the types of controls that you get, that you would expect from Windows. TK-Inter is another toolkit that comes with Python, and it's has a lot of similarities to PyQt. But so, majority of people who set out to build Windows UIs don't think of Python as the primary choice, right? For them, really the choice is between Winforms and WPF. Right, so Winforms came out around on or around Office the same time as Office 2003 when the first versions of .NET came out. It has great support from Visual Studio. So once when building on Winforms, you are in Visual Studio, and you're able to leverage a lot of the functionality and the tools that are in Visual Studio for designing and laying out your widgets. There's also a tremendous amount of third-party support. WPF is a newer framework. Came up a little earlier than Windows 7, but Windows 7 kind of it became mature. Has powerful animations, gradients, a lot of UI styles, and it also moved away from Microsoft's proprietary kind of DLL extensions, and they moved into XAML-based layouts, which is actually works great with Python development style, which I'll show you in a minute. And there's also a ton of third-party controls. So, I know there's a lot of talk about open source, and open source is great, but when it comes to Windows, there's actually Windows libraries. There's a tremendous amount of third-party support, third-party vendors that build beautiful widgets, and having the right widget set could mean could be a big win for you as you're building your Windows applications. I've not had a experience with all the items, all the vendors that I listed here. I've worked a lot with DevExpress, which is great. I know also Infragistics is quite good too. Here are some examples of controls that come with Windows. Beautiful grids, beautiful graphics, really rich edit controls that allow you to first it'll save you a tremendous amount of time by just having these controls there, and they actually look great. So now but we still want to do work in Python, right? So we want to build great Windows applications, but we want to work in Python. The technology that I think people have adapted in the .NET world is IronPython. So IronPython is an implementation of Python that compiles into native .NET code. I mean, it's good, but by using it, you lose a lot that you lose really. You don't get a lot of third library support. So Python.NET, IronPython runs within CLR, so you can't really leverage a lot of the libraries that you need, and you probably are using, or they're probably the drivers for you using Python. So what I found is there's this absolutely wonderful library called Python.NET that allows you to fairly intuitively and easily bridge the gap between the CPython world and unmanaged world and .NET. You can download it from Mr. Golke's wonderful site that has a collection of a tremendous amount of Windows binaries for various Python projects. The latest version, 2.1, supports both .NET 4 as well as Python, latest version of Python 3. So how does it look like? So how do I build Python applications that interact with .NET? So the first thing I would do is I would go into Visual Studio, build the form and the layout of my application, and compile it into a DLL. Then using CPython, I would then run it. So here's these 8 lines of code is effectively all I need to launch a Winforms application from CPython. The magic import CLR hook. Import CLR is the import for Python.NET, and it installs an import hook that then makes it possible to do things like this, where you're actually importing a .NET assembly and namespace directly into Python, and then are able to operate on them just as native Python, or they feel like native Python objects. You can then load your DLL that you build yourself, and then once you've done that, you can import your own namespace and construct classes using very much a Pythonic syntax to interact with .NET. The WinForms libraries offer you a wonderful shortcut called application.run, which takes an arbitrary form, shows it, and runs a Windows message loop. So this effectively is a complete program that will look and feel just like a native Windows application, but it's running in Python. With WPF, you can do the same thing, and except you no longer need the compile step, because WPF introduces XAML. Right, so once again, you use once you've loaded CLR, you can start writing .NET code. As most UIs on Windows, Windows UIs aren't multi-threaded in nature, so they always want to run in the single-threaded apartment. And I'm not going to try to dwell too much on the .NET specifics, but you do need, once you go down this path, you do need to understand .NET, and you would need to have some appreciation for some of the internals to be able to really take advantage of it. The compile step is replaced by this load of main.xaml, which constructs a window class, which you can then just show, and it'll pop right up. The replacement of it doesn't. I couldn't find an equivalent of application.run for WPF. If anyone knows, I would be interested in hearing about it. But the equivalent is the parallel is quite simple. There is a dispatcher. So once you show the form, you need to start a dispatcher that'll start processing events that come from your Windows application and calling the callbacks. So you need to do that by running the dispatcher on the primary thread. And it's also useful to install a callback that will shut down your application once you close the form. So that is 15 lines of code, but that is all you need to run a WPF application that you've designed with XAML and run in Python. Right. Okay, so the first 6 or 7 slides, I showed you all the technology that you need to build Winforms application in Python. But if you are going about building Windows applications and UI applications, you need to think beyond just basic technology. Frameworks and structures are very important, because Windows applications, UI applications tend to get very complex very fast. A basic pattern that I found very useful in bridging in building kind of these types of application is a very simple MVP pattern inspired by Martin Fowler's passive view model. And in this, you have a little application bootstrapper that knows how to create the application. You then have a view, which is a very simple wrapper around the XAML. It can only read and write data and sends event back, and presents an interface for connecting out event handling. Presenter is kind of is the center. It connects the view and the model together, and the model performs the various user actions and is also where you get a lot of your data. Application.py, so here's a sample application.py, very similar to what I've shown before. Presenter.py, again, it's a very simple pattern that gets a hold of a view in the model. When you do has a constructor that constructs an instance of presenter, when you call show, it'll load the grid, will take some data from the model, put it into the view, set up event handling, and we'll simply call view.show, which will set up the view. View is a little bit, could get a little bit more involved, and there's a little bit of boilerplate code, but it's really still quite simple. You have that same code for constructing the instance of the window class that we had before. You have a little kind of get-attr that allows you to provide a simple interface of how to get a hold of any control that exists in the form. In the model, it's all about the data, and with Python.NET, you can use .NET native data structures. So, for example, system data table is quite easy to construct and populate at runtime. All right, only have a couple of minutes left. So what else? So one major complaint that I've seen people raise, or objection that I've seen people raise to building this type of applications in Python is performance, right? We're crossing, with this infrastructure, we're crossing the process boundary between unmanaged C kind of world space and .NET. So there is a lot of data type conversions that are happening between Python data types and .NET data types. So I did a little bit of profiling to see how much they cost you. So for 10,000 data type conversions, if we're converting Python integers to system32 int, takes about 45 milliseconds. If we're converting string date to a system date, takes about 100 milliseconds. So it's not trivial, but it is on the order of where your UI experience is not going to be impacted all that much. If another way to look at it is if we were to construct a data grid of 50 columns by 1,000 rows of all strings, it'll take takes about 100 milliseconds to build such a view together. Another powerful thing that you can do with this technology is not just build such applications, but you can also build interesting test harnesses for Winforms applications, because once you're able to launch, once you're able to get a hold of a Windows form, you can do anything you want with it. You can set values, you can trigger events that normally happen on the form. So you can actually build a testing framework for Winforms in Python. I have some more information on that on my blog post if you guys are interested. And lastly, building UIs is often an adventure, and building large applications that have multiple screens gets very, very complex quite fast. And it's important to think about, it's important to actually introduce a number of frameworks to help you along with it. You need frameworks that help you ensure consistent styling and look and feel of your applications across different screens. You need to move beyond just a simple model view presenter for your data representation. So you need to really think about things like a domain model that encapsulates your data structures and defines your data outside of your presentation behavior. You should have a very good definition of what fields are in your applications and how they're shared across various screens. You know, things like data types, calculation rules, dependencies between fields, and of course, asynchronous events, right? So most UIs aren't just, most modern UIs that you'd see aren't just kind of passive things that they just sit there. They are actually pushing the data constant to the user, whether the P&L is ticking or the prices are coming or the news ticker is coming. So you need to support asynchronous events. Again, I have some, I'm not going to go into it in this, I don't have time to go into this here, but I have some more information in my blog post if you're interested. Thank you.